All right, everyone. I'm excited about this one. This is the Audible version. I'm actually going to read my book, What Works When Diets Don't. What Works When Diets Don't. Now, here's the good news. This book was written probably 23 or 24 years ago, and I republished it in 2020. I added some things, took out some things. And over the last 4 years, the health and fitness industry has even grown even more. And so I'm going to add a lot of stuff that is not in the book. Just to give you an idea, this is the book. I'm reading What Works When Diets Don't. We're also putting in this on video casting. So if you're listening to this on Audible, you can go to any of my social media platforms and you'll be able to watch the video of me reading it. What Works When Diets Don't. But you want to make sure you also have feasting and fasting, and then also help. I'm addicted. All three of these books will help with the weight loss process. And as of now, while we can do it, they're all available as free downloads to read right now at the church website, westsidechristianfellowship.org, westsidechristianfellowship.org. So again, let's get into this real quick. I'm going to read obviously something that's important first. We have to throw out a medical disclaimer. This book was written, this audio version is based on my personal experience and observation. And it is with that understanding that you are listening and reading, or if you're reading the resource, that as well, reading or listening. If professional assistance other than what is provided is required, the services of a capable authority are recommended. As always, see your doctor first, because the publisher and the author are not responsible nor liable to any person with respect to damage caused indirectly or directly from the information provided in this book. Again, at the time of this writing, free downloads of my books are available at the church website. And a medical note, before beginning a weight loss program, it is recommended that you consult your doctor for a checkup because you may place a higher demand on your body than what you are accustomed to. And your current activity level, that might increase everything from blood pressure, hormone levels. Everything should be checked out by your doctor first. So I want to say this, though, a little note from the author. Again, I'm reading the manuscript now, but I'm also going to add in a lot of new stuff that's not in the book. So the purpose of this resource, What Works When Diets Don't, is to motivate, educate, and encourage success. I'm an advocate on weight loss and health because it increases productivity. And here's a point I'm going to make up front. This is an interesting topic in the realm of health and fitness, and I've kind of went back and forth on this. I'm pretty solid on what I think now. I am going to focus a lot on nutrition, on eating, even on calories, because when I learned a lot through the National Academy of Sports Medicine, was never certified, but that's who I followed in the 1990s. The director of the National Academy of Sports Medicine back then, Rodney Korn, actually offered a cover quote for this book, which I was greatly appreciative of. But the dilemma was this. Back then, it was eat less, move more. You can eat less and kind of slow your metabolic rate down, and maybe hormonal challenges might come up. And of course, we've kind of changed a little bit on that, but I think we've come to the other side of the spectrum, which can be equally damaging. And that's, it doesn't matter how many calories you eat. It has to do with your hormones, things such as insulin, or glucagon, insulin-like growth factor 1. I mean, all these different hormones, testosterone, do play a role in progesterone, estrogen, do play a role in weight loss and fat loss and fat accumulation. And so we can't discard that. But I'm back. Here I am 24 years later saying that caloric intake does matter. No matter hormonal levels, which are great, your genes, that definitely can play a role. They're studying epigenetics a lot right now and gene expression and how you can change that. So, let's say your predisposition to cancer. Well, genetics, genes, load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. And that's why lifestyle is so important. So I am back, and I'm going to use this angle, I'm back to the point of calories do matter. And of course, there's how a 300 calorie eggs and Ezekiel bread is compared to a 300 calorie Snickers bar, much different on the absorption rate of those nutrients and spiking insulin. And so, the type of calories do matter, I believe. But the end of the day, I think we're set on the body must burn more than it consumes in order to lose weight. And, like many of you've probably I followed a lot of people from Thomas DeLauer. And of course, I might be dating myself if you guys listen to this years later. Peter Attia, I read his books. Paul Saladino, of course. Dr. Huberman, Gary Brecka. Let's see who else. Of course, Ben Greenfield, and I just like to follow a lot of these people. Some of them I know, and I think at the end of the day, we're starting to realize that the amount of calories matters. And so I'm going to focus a little bit on that. And there's other doctors who say it doesn't matter, it has everything to do with hormones. And they're partially right, because hormones, if your hormonal levels are good and you're operating efficiently, your body is going to really burn and utilize that fat differently. But let's just stick to the calories for now, the calorie concept of you've got to burn more. That's why 10,000 steps a day. That's why people are looking at their iWatch trying to get 10,000 steps a day in, and not easy. I'm thinking it's 4.5, 5 miles. So again, this book was first published in 2001. And in this opening part, I'm going to give you some helpful tips. So don't worry about that. We're going to get into each chapter as well. So the book was first published in 2001. It was republished in 2020 with minor changes and updates to the original information. And I expanded on some things as well. And then right now in 2024, I'm going to actually add more things and clarify more things. Because there's a lot of things coming out in the last 4 years. You probably heard things like mTOR. What is mTOR? Mammalian target of rapamycin. And in the cell, there's complex 1, complex 2. And how does that work with growth and cancer and IGF-1, that hormone, the pathway through mTOR, and autophagy and apoptosis and brain-derived neurotropic factor, and a lot of these things that we didn't know 5 years ago. So I do want to let you know and conclude with this in the section. I want to thank my mom, Diane Idleman, because she painstakingly edited this book back in 2001. And she passed away 4 years ago, but still want to honor her 1,000 times over. And of course, thank you to my wife, Morgan. We married after this book was released in 2002. So she was there looking at the manuscript and saw me go through everything and was very patient through the process, which it was a process. So let's get into what many of you are wanting to know. What works when diets don't? Let me just give you a brief history of myself. I'm not going to go into details. There's testimonies online. But in 1990s, I started working for what was then the fastest growing fitness company in the world, Family Fitness Centers. And I worked my way up as a manager, and then to a district manager. And we eventually merged with 24-Hour Nautilus and became 24-Hour Fitness, that is still around as of today. There's lots of others, fitness centers now, but that was probably one of the top ones back with Bally's. I think it was Bally's and LA Fitness. I haven't seen too many of those around lately. So that happened in the 1990s. God used those 8 years of, I managed a lot of people. I oversaw some big budgets. We looked into nutrition. I did study supplements, and we looked at, supplements, the fillers, the binders. Are they heated? Are they treated? How quick can they be absorbed in the gut? And so started to study supplements as well. And then God broke me and humbled me, and the prodigal son came home is truly what happened around 1999, 2000. I finally had to leave 24-Hour Fitness because it just wasn't going to work. And then there was just a journey of getting married, working in construction, working other jobs. I even got my real estate license for a short time, and then God called us to plant the church. And so during that time, I helped countless weight loss clients. I mean, we're talking I know I signed up well over 10,000 people, signed them up. And then I helped a lot of weight loss clients over that time. And so there was a consistent pattern of what works, what doesn't, and why. And that's what I want to share with you. Because the diet industry, first and foremost, it's a billion-dollar industry above. And so many times they're not really focused on helping the individual. They're trying to sell products. And when it comes to supplements, I'll talk about that. I think, I've kind of changed. I used to take a lot of supplements. I still have a lot of supplements at home because it gets, there's so many things out there. How much vitamin E, how much vitamin D? Am I taking vitamin K? Am I supplementing with coenzymes? What about resveratrol? What about, DAC, this popular DAC or NAC, or all these doctors promoting this. And we've got, now peptides are coming into the mix. And do I take glutamine or amino acids, essential amino acids? What about, what about, the creatine? That's been around a long time. It's basically a cell volumizer. It pumps some fluid into the cells. Lots of good studies out about that. And then there's a list of, from zinc to elderberry, echinacea, curcumin. There's a big list, and I've got, lots of supplements. Sometimes, and I'll get into that a little bit more, but I think you've got to be careful. I think we take too many supplements. If you're eating a really good diet with lots of God-given healthy food, you'll get a lot of that, but it's okay to supplement, as well. And so the supplement debate, there's so many different things out there, to boost natural testosterone. So what I would do when you're talking about supplements is I would look at what are you trying to accomplish, and then do some research. And I don't take supplements every day. It's too expensive. So maybe every other day, and kind of break it down every 2 days because of cost. And then, okay, if I want to build natural testosterone level, I think it's called Turkestan, I might add that with obviously the vitamin Ds, the vitamin E's, the vitamin K's, some of the essential some of the essential vitamins, possibly a perfect amino type where I've got all the essential aminos. So that's why supplements are hard, because there's tons of options out there. Depends your age. What are you trying to accomplish? Talking to your doctor and looking into it yourself. But I think we do take too many supplements, personally. So let's get started here. Many times the problem isn't that we raise our standard. It's that we lower it and we hit it. So here's the introduction. The D word. And again, I'm going to go off script a lot and add a lot of things to this manuscript. And this is back then. Currently, consumers were spending billions of dollars. I think it was around 72 billion, in fact, each year in the weight loss industry. So again, I don't know what we're up to now, but I know it's a lot. And you look at all the, the shakes and the bars and the apps and all the gimmicks and things. And why are we increasing in gaining weight? Why are we not losing weight? Why is health-related illnesses? They call it, I think, the four horsemen, from diabetes and heart disease and then neurological diseases. It's alarming. So something's not working. What's wrong with the picture? Well, what's wrong with the picture is, in my opinion, we're looking if I could just take that pill, if I could take that product. And that's the whole point of the book. The whole point of the book, What Works When Diets Don't, is a diet really sets you up for failure in this sense. Okay, I'm going to do this for 30 days or 60 days, and people do it, they work hard, and then a lot of times you've heard about the domino effect. They go back and gain the weight, and usually even more. A lot of times the reason they gain more weight back is because during the dieting, a muscle will be broken down. It's called gluconeogenesis. So your muscle will be broken down and converted to fuel. So let's say you lose, there's ways around that. It's hard to find that perfect balance of, I think the minimum amount of calories, you've got to have like 800 to 1,000 calories, pretty good amount of protein to at least hold that muscle during fasting and things like that, or dieting. But they'll lose the weight. Let's say they lose 30 pounds, but they've also lost some muscle. And because they are 30 pounds less too, their metabolic rate, the amount of calories they need has changed. And so they stop and they start eating exactly like they were eating. Whatever got them in the position they're in, they return to that. And so that has to stop. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. So sure, try something for 30 days. If you want to do keto, I'll explain that later, for 2 weeks, or this type of diet, and you want, it's okay. I mean, I do that too. If I go on a Daniel type of eating, Daniel fast, or even I've done some extensive water fasting, and I've got mixed feelings too about, how long to do that, what to do. I'm still, praying through all that. But it's good. But you have to make sure that, okay, this is a lifestyle. Because we fall back. Okay, forget it now. Let me go through fast food. Let me get my ice cream. Let me watch TV at night. And we go back to that lifestyle. So it has to be a lifestyle change. That's why diets don't work. They don't work is because a short-term solution, dieting, does not serve a long-term problem. Long-term problem is we've got health related illnesses increasing. We just eat too much. That's the bottom line. I'm going to shoot you straight during this book. We eat too much and we eat the wrong type of food. So, if I could really sum it up, if you want some help right now, eat God-given food in moderation and move more. That really it's biblical too. Moderation, you don't need to be full. You don't need to, my thing is always snacking. It's like, I just ate 2 hours ago. Why am I snacking? Why do I want chocolate? And so we've got to get back to just, Lord, help me eat whole life-giving food. And the more you eat, take a huge green salad that's got 15 different things in there, right? Mushrooms, tomatoes, cucumbers, carrots, cabbage, whatever. That life-giving food. I mean, you could technically eat as much of that salad. I mean, put some black beans if you want. Maybe I put some grilled chicken breast. You can eat as much of that as you want. You're going to lose weight. You're not going to gain weight. Why? Because very high in nutrients, low in calories. Of course, depending on what type of dressing you put on, you add tons of nuts and tons of beans, and you're going to get it really, really high in calories. So you have to be careful there. Also, quick note on salad dressing. I'll talk about this a lot more. Make sure you find something that is healthy. Avocado oil, cold pressed, olive oil. Did I say that? I just said that. Sorry. Yeah. Olive oil, the avocado oil. Oh, I think that's what I said. There's companies out there where there's no refined oils, the safflower, sunflower, the vegetable oils they're rancid. And so they put, I'm going to get into that in a little bit. They put all kinds of, they put chemicals to do this with the seed oils and to change the consistency and how the body responds, and the omega-3, omega-6, all these different things. So avoid seed oils. Do some natural salad dressing. That's a big deal. Makes a big difference, especially everywhere we eat. You can pretty much eating out you can know that it's seed oils. So that will get you started in the right direction. God-given food in moderation. And of course, you watch things like nuts and things like that, just huge salad, as much vegetables as you want, lots of some berries. And I'm not opposed to, I'll let you know up front, I'm not opposed to meat and dairy. If it's clean, if it's in moderation, if you can get raw, I'll pay more for a raw gallon of milk for my family at Sprouts or Whole Foods than, just pasteurized junk milk. That's at least expensive, but that's just a choice I've made. And the reason I've seen all the documentaries, I've listened to, all the different things out there. You've got one side, from the Esselstyn's to the, McDougall and Dr. Goldhammer at True North, and the fasting guys, and Dr. Furman, and, very, very good points. And if people want to do that, I'm all for it. But of course, then you have, a lot of the other guys I mentioned at the beginning of this audio here, who are definitely into meat and dairy. And the reason is, I think as we get older, I do think our protein need increases. And so that's what this side is kind of missing and a lot of those guys look frail, and, but they live long. So, and there are studies out there. You can look on your own. You can do this research on your own. A lot of where people live to be 100 years old. It's a very clean type of diet. You hear the Mediterranean diet. It's very clean, lots of olives and avocados and resveratrol and the grapes and salads and maybe a little bit of fish and stuff. And then you have others, some of the jungles in Africa, or you go to Australia, it's just lots of sweet potatoes and beans, and they live the Okinawa, Japan, lots of rice, and so there's a lot of support for whole plant-based foods. I'm not against that whatsoever. Of course, you have tribes that eat a lot of meat, as well, that they followed, and so I have to just what I do is I look at what the Bible says. The Bible says we are created to eat God-given fruits and vegetables from Genesis. Bottom line, that's how we were created. No, there's not even an argument in my mind for that. However, after the fall, after the flood, God says, okay, as I gave you all the greens, now I give you the beasts of the field. Now you are able to eat the animals. And that's where, of course, where the goat milk came, and they would kill animals, and God allowed that. And so the question comes up, just because he allowed it, is it ideal? Is it because vegetables were scarce back then, especially after the flood? I believe in the Bible 100%, inerrant word of God, and that's how I come up with these conclusions. But then Paul also talks about, do not let people judge you on what you eat. The time will come when they will forbid meat. And the Bible doesn't put that in a good perspective. It puts that in a cultish type of environment. And so we see Jesus probably, no doubt, eating fish. I'm sure some lamb. We see throughout the Old Testament. But then we see like Ezekiel bread. We see that God fed the children of Israel in the wilderness with manna. Manna, if you look at I think it's bdelarium or something along those lines, and you look, it's mainly a honey, a wafer, like a plant-based food. It's not, he fed them quail later because their flesh lusted for it. So, the debate will always go on. My personal opinion based on the Bible is God-given whole foods are primary. If you can just do that, you'd be going in a really good direction, for sure. Of course, you have to supplement if you don't have any meat and dairy because of certain supplements that are missing. And I don't know how that worked either, early in creation. How did we get some of the nutrients that are found more in meat and dairy? I don't know. Maybe the soil was different. The soil was a lot richer, and you can get things from the soil. I mean, they ate the soil a lot back then. It was on the fruits and the vegetables, not the fruits maybe, but on the vegetables. I'm sure they took in a lot more soil. They worked in the soil. They walked in the soil. And believe it or not, many of you have probably heard of rapamycin. It's a very interesting drug, but it actually comes from the soil of the dirt. Easter Island, I think they found it in 1970s. It's antifungal thing in the bacteria. There's a lot of good things, and you've heard of metformin for diabetes. That's found in the leaves of certain of things. So we see that God's creation is ideal, but that's why I can't totally get away from recommending raw dairy if you can find it in moderation. Some clean meat, of course, the red meat debate, the cholesterol debate. Your body makes cholesterol, whether you eat it or not. I know vegans with high cholesterol levels, and I don't think, HDL, LDL, the bad guy, LDL, the bad guy. The reason it's called the bad guy is because the LDL particles take the cholesterol to the damage and it repairs the damage. So it's not necessarily a bad guy. It's doing what God has designed us to do. Every cell in the body needs cholesterol. Every single cell. It's a wonderful nutrient, actually. And so the last couple of years they've got into, and I'm not going to get into it because I'm not an expert and I don't want to confuse people, but what really matters is the particle size. If you break down the particle size, AP little b and these different things, you can get your blood work done. You can have a doctor look at that knows what they're talking about. And that's why, cholesterol, I'm not, there's been times where I've eaten a few eggs every day and some chicken, and I'm not convicted that that's bad. However, there are times and seasons where I want to avoid meat and dairy and just focus on life-giving food. So you're going to have to take that to the Lord, because I think one problem is we try to tell people what to do. And the most confusing time in my life is when I try to listen to all these different voices and keto, carnivore, this, that. I mean, I don't think carnivore is good long-term, even though there are some health benefits I can explain later. Keto, long-term, I don't know if that's how we were created, but if it's something a diabetic wants to do for a few weeks, so take it to the Lord. I'm just going to tell you the facts about health and nutrition. If it were me, I would get my meals down to just 2 or 3 meals a day. I would avoid snacks. I wouldn't eat late at night. It can disrupt your sleep, different things. I would stop caffeine, just have a little bit in the morning if you have to have it. I still have a little caffeine in the morning, 4:35 a.m. And that's usually, hopefully, my last cup. If I have green tea, black tea, sometimes I have a little bit of organic coffee. Depending on just, again, where I'm at. So that will be a huge health tip. And then start getting in 10,000 steps a day if you can. Start with 5,000, start exercising. Because when you resistance train and you build, your muscle is built when we sleep. It takes the nutrients we eat and it responds and it begins to build. But I'm going to work out a lot different if somebody out differently if they're 55 versus 30. So again, the age matters, What are your goals? But that's going to help you get started is God-given food in moderation, move more. I would just get rid of all the junk for now. This is serious. This is serious business, folks. The cookies, the crackers, the chips, we can buy organic bunny crackers, organic Doritos, organic Fritos. Now that I've seen this healthier version of, I don't know, what are those chips called? They come in like a tube. I haven't had these things in a while. I forgot what they are, but many of you know, but there's a healthy version, but you look at the healthy version, it's just a lot of, you have to remember these carbohydrates, they're processed carbohydrates. They're going to spike your insulin level big time. So, and it's a processed food. So I would just remove those things. If you have to have a snack, maybe take an egg with some Ezekiel bread, mix it together, make some healthy French toast, put some Manuka honey on it. With some MCT oil, right there, 300 calories, very healthy. So we can be strategic, if we just be smart. And now at times when I go out to eat, I know people might think I'm weird, but that's okay. I'm trying to think long-term longevity. I'll probably already have some chicken made and some of my own salad dressing that's very healthy salad dressing. And then I'll just pour that, on this big salad I order at the place. I want to be strategic. I don't do that all the time, but I can tell when I eat better, I'm way, way more productive. I'm a better husband. I'm a better father. I'm a better pastor. And I'll be a better person reading this book to you. It does matter. So I'm excited to get into this. We're going to get into the 8 steps to success. We're going to get into more. Everything I just talked about, I'm going to dig even deeper, but I want to at least in this introduction of the D word, tell you why dieting doesn't work and tell you what you can start doing right now. Right now, everything I just said, take notes of that right now. Clean out the pantry, clean out the refrigerator, get things. And it's not as expensive as people think. I look for great deals. I just found a great deal on blueberries, organic blueberries, buy one, get one at half off. Or, normally they were, I don't know, let's say $5. Normally now they're $2.50, half price. And you find some turkey, ground turkey organic, it's half price. My daughter just found $10 huge thing of ground turkey. $10 was $1.99 because Sprouts was wanting to get rid of it. A big bag of organic beans that you can make. It's not expensive. If you look at how many times you go to Starbucks in a month, I bet you're well over $300, $200. So it's not about really, it is about, of course, cost, but it's how we spend our money, where we spend it that really makes the difference. So excited to get into this with you. Looking forward to chapter 1.